This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. The scenario is Nightmare at Rusk. It was written by Thomas Bailey, who is also our keeper of arcane lore, and this is episode 1. If you would like to lend us some support, you can visit our Patreon site. It's your kind generosity that keeps us going. So without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. Thomas?
Okay. Thank you, Thom. Welcome, everyone, to Rusk State Hospital, which is a mental hospital that was originally founded in the 1860s, not long after the Civil War, and has a bit of a sordid history if anyone is interested in looking into it. But today, we are arriving on the 4th of July of 1946. At this particular moment in time, the state hospital is crowded, of course, with a lot of new PTSD patients, which at the time they called shell-shocked, and also not rather well funded, and so it is very much understaffed. And so we gather together, as I said, on the 4th of July. The few orderlies that are here have kind of gathered you all in the common room for a little bit of a Independence Day celebration, with even an occasional sparkler here and there, but keeping an eye out to make sure no one burns the place down. And so that's where we kind of begin things are at. What is it that people are doing? Who is amongst us in this common room as we begin this 4th of July celebration?
Well, I'm Robert Crean, and I'm an engineer, but right now I'm sitting in the corner with a notepad that they let me have and my pencil, and I'm making designs for a peaceful garden somewhere, and where I would plant things. But I am deeply dreading any fireworks that might be going off tonight, because I don't like loud noises of any kind. So my apprehension level is right about here. My anxiety level.
I'm Juan Castillo. 18-year-old farm kid who is trying to be as small as possible, just kind of against the wall, kind of taking everything in. And I've never experienced anything like this, obviously, and I'm here because I have seizures, and they don't know what they are, and they think that something's mentally wrong with me. So I got sent here by basically the local authorities in my town, I guess my church, and yeah, I'm just really nervous and apprehensive, taking everything in.
You see Daniel Coop. He's a 29-year-old man. He's really wiry, small. He's avoiding everyone kind of off to the side. He's picking at his arms, looking down. He's one of those soldiers that was came back and it's just not quite right.
I'm Evan Galois, a mathematician. During the war, I grew more and more paranoid that Nazis were out to get me. People were trying to poison my food, so I just prepared my own meals. And my family thought it better to place me in this facility. I'm currently probably just looking around a little paranoid if a lot of fireworks are going off, thinking the Nazis might have, trying to invade Rusk, Texas.
Eugene Agordati is a 46-year-old man, thin and standing 170 meters tall. Eugene is sitting at a table, nods his head, as if someone were speaking to him, but there is no one there.
Okay. As you guys are kind of all gathered here together, you do see that there are a lot of other of the inmates. It's like I said, it's a rather overcrowded area at the moment because of the post-war boom, as they say. And after a little while, about 45 minutes after the party has kind of got started, enters in someone you all know very well. Dr. Victor Smith. Dr. Victor Smith is kind of the head psychiatrist here at the Rusk State Hospital. He's a relatively recent addition. He arrived in January of this past year. Has a very thick, heavy German accent, which I will not attempt to try, but he does have a thick German accent as he kind of enters in. He kind of looks around and sees how everyone is doing. Kind of going by, kind of talking with various individuals, as he is wont to do on occasion. He kind of comes up then to approaches Evan. He knows that Evan probably has a little trepidation against him, but does Evan do anything as Dr. Smith approaches him?
I assume I'll hear him talk and hear his accent.
Oh yeah, he'll come up and say, "Evan, how are you feeling on this festive day?"
Oh, I'm fine, doctor. Fine, just fine. Nothing going on. Just you can move on, please.
Yes. But we celebrate American independence today, do we not?
Yeah. Independence Day, very important day.
It is. What makes Independence Day important for you, Evan?
Well, we celebrate the liberation of the freedom we enjoy in this country, being free from tyrannical regimes such as the Nazis. Uh,
Yes. I thoroughly agree with that sentiment. But it started against the British, did it not?
yeah. I think they threw some things in the ocean, some tea or something. I mostly focused on mathematics, so I'm not too sure.
Yes. Well, you do know that King George was originally German.
He was? Oh, but he was not a Nazi, right?
Oh, no. That was long before the Nazi regime, of course.
Oh, thanks. Thank God.
Yes, indeed. Well, very good. Enjoy your holiday, Evan. It's always good to see you. We'll have a group session tomorrow, yes?
I guess so then.
Yes, indeed. And he just kind of goes through, talks to a lot of other individuals. You also notice there are some of the people that you often kind of notice as kind of being a bit friendly and kind of going about. There's a fellow whose name is as Al Capone, because that's the name that he was given at birth. But he kind of approaches up to Juan. Juan, you haven't seen Lucky Luciano lately, have you?
And Juan just kind of looks at him a little bit confused, and he goes, "No, sir. No, I have not."
Okay.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be bringing me some rum. You haven't seen it yet, have you, Juan?
No, if I do, I'll definitely let you know, sir.
Okay, good. Because you do me a favor, I can do you a favor in return, right?
I appreciate that, sir.
All right.
Yes.
All right. You keep an eye out keep an eye for Lucky.
Yes, sir. And it's kind of like, oh man, what is this? But he stays respectful because that's how he was raised.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else is there anything anyone would want to kind of do or happen during this party as it's kind of going on? You know that you've been at it for about an hour, so there's only maybe about half an hour before the orderlies will kind of take you all back to your rooms as the sun starts to go down.
I'll go over to Evan and just with my head down, not making eye contact. What do he want?
I'm having some group session tomorrow with him, he said, or some kind of session with him. Uh, and he was just asking me about what we celebrate today. I don't know. That guy kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, I can't take him. I can't stand him.
You were in the war as well, right?
Yes. Yep. Yep. I was in the war.
Oh,
Damn Germans.
I'm
you
going to
did a
walk
good
over
thing.
towards Eugene and Eugene. I want to measure your arm.
Uh,
Would you let me? I want to measure your arm.
why?
It's part of the plan.
But what plan?
Oh,
I,
the one that
I,
I'm working on. It's
but I am weak. I'm weak. My arm is weak.
just put your arm on the table. I'm not allowed to touch you, remember? But I
Okay,
got to know how long your arm is.
but you will leave me alone after?
Till I need the next measurement, I'll leave you alone. But come on, the faster you do it, the faster I can
Okay,
go back.
okay. I give you my arm.
Okay, and I'll lay the tape measure on top of it. And that's
You-
very strange. And
Why?
I'll just
Is there any problem?
I'll just write down something and shake my head and walk away.
I don't like this. But I will tell it to Jeremy.
Don't tell Jeremy.
But Jeremy's here. He's right now. He's listening to you.
Don't tell him.
I will do. I'm not scared. Jeremy is strong. He protects me. You see how I put my hand over my back like this. Jeremy's here, and
Let
he
me see.
protects me.
Let me see how far it is.
You know Jeremy does not like you.
I look very offended and I walk away back to the corner where I was. Fucking Jeremy. Well, fucking Jeremy anyway. Fine. Evan, I've almost got the plan together. Look, I need the math.
Sure, sure,
Right?
sure,
I'm going to
man.
hand you the paper and the pencil.
I'll take the pencil and what math do you need? What's the plan?
The formula, the formula, this one. You should be able, you're a mathematician, you should be able to read it. It's just gobbledygook.
I'll probably just smile and say yes and act as if I'm working on it, probably recognizing that it's,
Yeah.
gobbledygook.
That's not right. Jesus. I thought you were a mathematician. I'll go back over and sit down.
I just do the theoretical part, not I don't put things into practice. I don't do any engineering or anything.
So that's my job.
Yeah.
Okay. Robert, can you give me a listen roll if you wouldn't mind?
Oh, that's me. Let's see.
Well, I can't say Tom because of the number of
Right. Yeah, there's too many of
Thomases
them.
we have.
Listen roll. Oh, I haven't put anything in it. Let's see. I think I'll maybe waste you know what I'll do? I'll put the 20 more points in. So now it's 40.
Okay.
And I got 46. I can spend 6 points of luck. Can we spend luck?
You can spend luck, of course.
I'll spend 6 points of luck.
All right, then. Robert, you start hearing off in the distance. Those fireworks are beginning.
I'm going to go. Are there? I imagine that there are. I don't know what you call them, wards, uh, uh, orderlies, or people that are
They're
in the room to
orderlies.
make sure.
There's about 6 or 7 orderlies in here, looking after the 100 or so patients that are currently in the common
Yeah.
room.
Can I go back to my cell? I don't like the noise.
What's Robert? What's wrong? What's wrong
The
with the noise?
noise. It's too loud.
What? Oh, Robert, that is just fireworks. You can handle this.
It's too loud.
He actually will physically remove your hands away from your ears. You must learn to listen to this. Go ahead and give me a sand roll.
Oh, 24 out of 40. I'm cool.
Okay. You're able, despite the abuse you're getting, you're able to kind of keep things together for a moment. But yeah, it's just and you kind of hear it as they're starting to get louder as more and more people are beginning to begin their firework festivities for the 4th of July. The orderlies do start to notice that more and more of the patients here are starting to get a bit restless. And so they begin the process of taking you all back to your rooms where you are.
Thank you.
It just took more pain and suffering, Robert. That's all. So they put you in your rooms, and basically your rooms, they are kind of locked up cells for the most part. Everyone does have a roommate. None of you are bunked together though. You all are in separate rooms. You do have your own separate roommates. But there's basically not much there. There's a bed in there. There's a toilet and a wash basin. There's not even a mirror just because they're worried about people hurting themselves. So it's just a wash basin there and a couple of beds. As you're all brought back to your rooms, you're given about half an hour before you do hear the calls for lights out, and just with a flick of a switch at the end of the hall, all lights throughout the course of the place go out at the same moment. You're kind of alone with your thoughts.
Yeah. And the pillow over my ears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you do hear, Robert. You would be hearing the fireworks because those don't disappear just because you're off to your room.
Yeah. Um, well, I'm pretty upset for the ongoing situation where Eugene gets two roommates and we all get just one. But um, oh, who's our roommate? Do we? I mean, we obviously we know our roommate.
Whoever you want your
Make
roommate to be.
something up.
Yeah.
Um, Mine's probably another scientist who's gone a little loopy. Um, and he occasionally says Einsteiny things at me, and I say Einsteiny things back at him. But I think for now, I'm just going to lay in the bed and try to cover my ears so I can't hear
Okay.
the fireworks. Every time one goes off,
Yeah.
I jump.
He actually probably claims he was part of the Manhattan Project and makes a few comments. Oh, yes, I remember when the bomb was dropped, it made noises like this.
Yeah. Uh, Stop. You know. Uh, don't worry. You're part of my plan. We'll build your nuclear detonation device later. I don't know how we're going to get the fissionable material.
Oh, I have a plan for that. I've heard whisperings that there's something in the basement that would be helpful to us.
Yeah, the macaroni and cheese.
That's in the kitchen, you silly fool. No, 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 no. That's the difference between engineers and real scientists, after all.
Whatever. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. I'm laying there.
Okay. Yeah, everyone else, kind of the night kind of goes on. Um, I'd like everybody at this point to give me a listen roll.
Nope. No.
Okay.
60, yes, right? 20 is the,
You can add whatever you want to. 20 is the base,
yeah,
but you can add whatever you can
I have
change it or
16,
add.
so regular.
Okay.
I got a,
39 here.
I have a
Okay.
20 and I got a double aught 8. So
Okay. All right. So for those who succeeded, you kind of wake up in the middle of the night. You're not sure what time it is, but you know that it's probably pretty late because everyone else is asleep. They're just snoring across the board on your particular ward. But you wake up because you hear this kind of screaming from the person that you are familiar with, who is known as Al Capone. And he is hollering and screaming, saying, "Don't you know who I am? How dare you do this to me? Don't you remember what I did at the St. Valentine's Day massacre? I'm going to do that to you." As you hear this sound just kind of being dragged down the corridor and farther away as it kind of begins to kind of dissipate as he's just yelling and screaming the whole way down until he's gone.
Oh no.
and so we just hear. Is there any way we can look out our door, or is it just something that we're hearing at
Well,
this
you,
point?
you do hear if you want to if you want to try to see if you can see anything, you can go up because there would be like a little window type of thing so that the orderlies can kind of peek in while you sleep. So if you want to see if you can get out of bed and take a look, you most certainly can.
Oh yeah, I'll get out of bed and take a look and
Okay.
see if I can see
All
anything.
right. Yeah, you get out, and yeah, you do see that there are two orderlies that are kind of dragging Al Capone kind of down the corridor. He's kind of fighting, kicking, and screaming. He's trying to scratch and claw as best he can. So he's not even in a straitjacket necessarily, but he's just being dragged down the hallway by these two rather large orderlies that you know as Bruce and Liam. All right. So now go ahead and ask your question one.
Oh, what's the demeanor of the orderlies? How are they responding to Al Capone's pleas and cries and everything regarding? Are they humoring him, or are they just like shut up, or are they just dragging him motionlessly? I guess.
Um, you're used to them kind of having a little bit of fight and give because I mean you see quite often people fighting against orderlies whenever as they happen to do so, but they seem rather stoic as they're just kind of dragging him down the hallway.
Okay, all right. And they don't see me at that. They're just kind of going past, looking forward, eyes forward, and everything.
Give me a spot hidden.
All right. I'll put 40 into that. So,
Okay.
so I rolled a 65 and it's 25 base. So does that go up to 65 with the 40, or is it
No,
just
if you're just putting the 40 in, you're putting the 40 into that spot.
okay? Oh, I put the 40 in and I rolled a 65. So
Okay. You're not sure. You don't know. You do know that they do go past your door, but whether or not they see you looking through the window, you have no idea.
okay. And then I guess I'll just kind of like go back to my bed and lay down and keep thinking about thinking about what happened and
Okay.
stare.
Right. Any of the other people that heard anything, are you wanting to do anything?
Uh, I'll probably wake up my roommate, like of bunkmate, saying, Mickey, they're dragging Al Capone away.
Ah,
What's going on?"
oh, what does that have to do with me? Who cares about Capone? He's
And
crazy.
I'll also look out just through the window while he's being dragged, but I'm probably not going to do much more.
Okay. Yeah, you
'Cause-
see very similar to what Juan saw, just the two orderlies kind of dragging Al Capone down the hallway.
yeah, okay.
Is this the first time we've ever seen anything like this? Or is this
You're
semi-regular
aware
occurrence?
you're aware that if someone is being belligerent, that they'll come in, but usually once lights are out, if everyone is quiet and just kind of going to sleep, there's usually no disturbance because they'd much rather have everything be nice and cool and even. So it is a bit strange that in the middle of the night, because you hadn't heard Al Capone making any ruckus prior to this.
And we know Al Capone as typically being very, like, I guess, not, I mean, not being very, but not usually causing too many problems, just kind of in his own little delusion of looking for a Lucky
As
Luciano.
long as people respect him as Al Capone, the mobster, he's happy to go along with things. It's when they try to break his delusion that he ever has any issues.
Right.
Okay. All right then. Folks heading back to sleep then that heard?
I'll try.
Okay. Okay. Well, you could do a constitution roll to see if you fall asleep if you want to. So
This probably doesn't help with my paranoia. 67, so that's a fail.
okay. Yeah, you have a restless night. You're unable to get to sleep. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning when this happened, so you did get some sleep in, but it's kind of been broken. And you have a restless about another 4 hours before things start waking up again on the ward. Juan, as you kind of are able to kind of get back to sleep, you have some rather strange dreams. You get these dreams about this creature that has horns, is red all over, carries a pitchfork, is kind of banging on your door all night type of thing. That's kind of the dreams that you have. So you're able to get back to sleep, but it is a rather restless sleep that you have.
All right. And I think the way I handle it is my grandmother is what they call a curandera, which is like a medicine woman type, healer type, and I spent a lot of time with her.
Hmm.
And I feel like maybe I've been given the evil eye or something here, and that's kind of what's kept me up too, is the or not like kind of like is what I'm thinking of when I wake up in the morning,
Hmm.
is that something's happened. So I
Okay.
saw something, or when that it has something to do with the Al Capone being removed.
Hmm. Okay.
So
Um, and given kind of some of your background piece, why don't you go ahead and give me a sand roll for that as well?
all right, 45 under 60,
Okay, you're all good then.
under 58 actually. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're all good then. Okay. You do hear everyone starting to kind of wake up. The orderlies are getting everyone up, kind of going through doing the normal process, running you all to the showers. You have this is the 1940s, so you have all these gang showers that you're together, just kind of getting hosed down type of thing, getting all cleaned up, and then you're marched off to breakfast. And then they break you off then into your details. And this particular morning, Robert, Evan, Juan, Eugene, and Daniel, you all have been assigned to the same kind of group session. Meeting with Dr. Smith first thing in the morning at 8 a.m. So you all kind of gather there about that time, and you do see that Al Capone is sitting in the group session as well.
How's he looking compared to how we know him?
Give me a psychology roll, actually.
I'll I'll put the one of the 20s in there.
Well, that's an additional 20 plus 20, so that should take you up to 21 then, I think, because there should be a base one.
I have psychology 10 on my
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
sheet,
so it
10's
takes
the
it up to
base.
30 then.
but 96, so
Oh,
I
okay.
feel horribly.
At the moment, yeah, he's just kind of sitting there rather quiet. You're used to him being talkative, but he is just kind of sitting there quietly. Okay.
And that's unusual, isn't it?
He's
Al
always
talks a
wanted to,
lot.
yeah, he is often wanting to talk about his plans, despite the fact that he's a mobster. He seems to be quite chatty about his activities.
Al's kind of quiet today. You look tired. Why are you all look tired? I
I
slept like
couldn't
a baby.
I couldn't sleep. I think I saw like I'll whisper a little so Al Capone or the orderlies don't hear us. I think they dragged Al Capone somewhere. I woke up from it. I just couldn't get to sleep after. I don't know.
And when you say that, I kind of like I kind of bristle a little bit and say, I saw that too. I can't. I heard them. They just dragged him down the hall, and he was like, I mean, just look at him right now. It doesn't look like he doesn't. He's not acting how he normally does. And then I was like,
Was
and I went. I had bad dreams for the rest of the night too. I don't know what's going on.
was he being
I
bad?
woke up. Jeremy told me that he listened to that too, but I sleep very well this night. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it was. He wasn't. I just heard him screaming once he was in the hallway. I don't know what. I don't know. I didn't see anything that happened before that. And I think with this, I think I'm gonna go over to Al Capone and kind of sit next to him, and then I'll say to Al Capone, I'll say, Mr. Capone, sir, I haven't seen Lucky Luciano at all since we talked, just so you know, and see what he says.
Kind of turns his head over to you and kind of looks at you and says, "Who's Lucky Luciano?"
And I'll say, remember you told me that you were, if I saw him, to let you know. And I was just reporting into you, Mr. Capone, that I haven't seen him. We talked yesterday in the community room.
Oh, well, please don't call me Mr. Capone. The name's Albert.
Oh, okay, Albert. Yep, I was just letting you know what was going on, and then I'll get up
Okay.
and I'll go back to where I was with with the group, and then I'll kindly, say he's not Al Capone anymore. He's Albert now.
Word.
And
Don't get out of your seat again.
oh, yes, sir.
Things
About
are the
that
way they
time,
are because this is the way they're supposed to be.
about that time, Dr. Smith arrives. Uh, he says, "Ah, good morning, gentlemen. I trust everyone slept well last night. Did you get a good breakfast in?"
Yeah.
Did you order my extra cleaning products?
Daniel,
I haven't had it. I've been asking.
I know. We've talked about this before. We're trying to limit your usage of these cleaning products. Remember, there's nothing's going to get inside of you that you don't put in there yourself.
The bed's filthy. The whole place is filthy.
I can
Cleanliness
ask.
is next to godliness.
That is very true, Robert. That is very true. We like to keep things clean here, but Daniel, you know that it's twice a month your sheets are, or excuse me, twice a week your sheets are changed. That's more than anyone else gets.
Should be every day.
Daniel, we
Every day.
cannot. You get it twice a week, Daniel.
Not acceptable.
Yours were changed 2 days ago. It'll be all right for the next couple of days.
Mm,
Okay,
not acceptable.
very good. All right. Robert, will you please, can I have your seat, please, Robert?
You want to sit in my seat?
Yes, please.
Bargaining. I want my sheets changed every day.
Well, if Robert's going
Robert,
to get his, I want mine. I
Yeah.
asked first.
Juan says, "You
Robert,
guys get sheets." No.
gentlemen, 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 gentlemen.
If
We're
Juan's
not
not
here.
getting sheets, I'll take his sheets.
We're not here to bargain. We're not here to bargain. Robert, I'm simply making a request of you. If you would please let me have your seat. You can say yes or no.
I decline. Yes, no,
All right.
no.
That is fine. We may have to schedule you for some further treatments later. Which, Robert, you are aware that that probably is going to mean electroshock therapy.
Oh. Okay, so can I do like a willpower roll to see if I can relinquish my chair?
Sure, you could do, yeah, you could do a power roll, right? Why not?
I guess I barely passed. Uh, I'm going to reluctantly stand up and probably change my mind two or three times in the process, but eventually I will put the spot for him to sit.
Okay. And actually, yeah, as soon as you give the kind of the gesture that you're offering your seat, he doesn't hesitate and immediately kind of takes the seat. He said, thank you, Robert. I know that was difficult for you, but I do appreciate it. It is necessary.
So then I'm going to, are these like high-backed seats?
Yeah, they're
Or,
just they're wooden chairs with kind of like institutional style chairs.
so I will put my hands on the back part of the seat, of the two little nubbins, that stick up on either side, and try to position myself exactly in the center of the back, standing up, making sure my feet are symmetrical and everything.
Hmm. Okay.
Because he didn't say I had to sit in his seat.
No, he didn't say. He just asked for your seat.
Yeah. So I'm standing behind him.
Oh, so you're like directly behind Dr.
Yeah,
Smith.
with my hands on the chair and
He
probably
does kind
looking
of
at my hands, making sure that my fingers are in exactly the same positions.
he does kind of look up at you, Robert, and say, Robert, remember, we cannot start our session until everyone is sitting. Those are the rules.
You want me to sit there?
You can sit wherever you wish. There are 3 chairs that are open. One that happens to be, because Juan was sitting in it earlier, there is a chair that's next to Al Capone. And then there's another chair sitting next to Daniel and another one that's by Eugene.
Are the chairs next to each other, the empty
Yeah,
ones?
it's in
Or
kind of a circle type of situation.
okay, so I have to assess the situation. I hope I'm not overplaying this, but uh, I have to see what's the most symmetrical spot for me to sit in, which
Okay.
takes me a couple of seconds to figure out which is the least offensive chair for me to sit in.
Why don't you give me a knowledge roll then?
Okay. Uh, which is knowledge? Is that education?
Yeah, edu.
Yeah, I passed that easily. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you figure out that it doesn't take you long as you kind of do the computations in your head. You know that you can figure out that the chair next to Al Capone, or now Albert, is probably the most symmetrical of
Okay.
the chairs in terms of its alignment.
I then sit there and I probably do my adjustments. I make sure to move it a couple of millimeters to this side and to this side until it's in the
Okay.
right spot. I'm
All right.
quite OCD.
Good. And he says, thank you, Robert. I know that was difficult for you, but I'm glad you've taken your seat. Let us begin. How did everyone sleep last night? So he kind of looks around the room.
Slept very well, doctor.
Very good, very good. How did Jeremy sleep last night, Eugene?
Well, he slept well, but he was awakened. Some noise disturbed him, and he told me that Albert was taken by force from his room.
Your Albert was taken by force from his room.
Yes,
Interesting. And he turns over to Albert. Albert, were you taken by force from your room last night? And Albert responds, "No, I was not." Um, are you sure, Eugene, that Jeremy is telling you the truth?
Yes, he's here right now, and he says that yes, and Jeremy does not lie, to me at least.
Well, why would Albert lie?
I trust Jeremy more than Albert. In fact, I trust Jeremy more than everyone. So if Jeremy says that that's what happened, I believe him.
At this point,
Jeremy protects me.
Juan does speak up and he says, I heard something. I heard some yelling and screaming. And I think I heard what maybe Jeremy heard too.
Was that yelling and screaming done by Albert or someone else, Juan?
Albert, I think it was Albert because he was saying that he's Al Capone and he was asking, do you know who I am and what I can do? Well, that's what I heard.
Okay. He turns to Albert again and he says, Albert, were you yelling and screaming last night? And Albert says, "No, of course not. Why would I yell and scream?" Well, Albert, are you Al Capone as Juan is asserting? He says, "No, why would I be a gangster? I'm uh, I was a stockbroker."
Uh, would Juan know? Like, does I guess what would Juan's relationship be with Dr. Smith? Like, is he
He's been your therapist for the last 6 months, 7 months.
okay? And he's seen Dr. Smith interact with Albert as Al Capone in the last six.
Well, I mean,
months.
he's always I mean, in a very clinical way of trying to help him, but yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. I guess at this point, Juan kind of sits back because he does find it weird that the I guess the complete 180 from Al Capone and the I guess the interaction with Dr. Smith and Al Capone, like not recognizing what could be, I guess, a potential breakthrough for Al Capone's person, I guess. So he just kind of, you can tell by the look on his face that he's a little confused and not too sure how to proceed.
Mhm. Um, yes, Robert.
He's a criminal mastermind.
Who is a criminal mastermind, Robert? Are you pointing at Albert right now? Um, Albert, excuse me, Robert, have you ever seen a picture of Al Capone?
Why do I need a picture? He's right there.
Robert, you're a scientist, are you not?
Yes, I am.
And don't you require evidence of proof that someone is who they say they are?
Well, I've heard of him. I've read about him in the newspapers.
Okay. And have you never seen a picture of Al Capone in the newspapers?
I suppose I haven't. Not that I noticed.
Okay. Well,
Is that not him?
would you believe if I told you that Albert here, despite the fact that his last name is Capone, does not look anything like the Chicago gangster?
I understand. He's really good.
He's not had any plastic surgery either, Robert.
Okay. I'll whatever you say, doctor. I
Well,
didn't hear anything last night.
okay. Okay. Did anyone else hear anything last night? Daniel, did you hear anything last night?
I could barely sleep on those sheets, and I really don't need a roommate. I really don't want a roommate.
Everyone has a roommate, Daniel. You know this.
I don't like my roommate. I don't want him. He stinks and he's filthy.
Well, we can only do so much to force people to take a shower. Evan, did you hear anything last night?
Uh, Maybe I did. I think so.
You're not sure?
Huh. Well, I am sure. I heard something, yeah.
Well, what did you hear, Evan?
I heard some loud screaming and Al Capone or Albert talking about the Valentine Day massacre while he was being dragged off. I couldn't sleep at all after that.
The St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Um, as he turns then to Albert. Albert, did you scream and holler about the St. Valentine's Day Massacre last night? No, doctor. I don't know what they're talking about. Um I'm I know I slept very well throughout the night. I don't know what they're speaking about. And then the doctor kind of turns back to you, Evan, and says, I don't know what to tell you, Evan, Juan,
We
and Eugene.
we
Um,
have two people with the same stories, who
well,
came up with the
Evan,
same thing without talking to each other before.
well, you've just been talking about it, and each in turn have said you have heard. It's not as if all three of you said at the same time that you heard anything. You heard Juan speak, you heard Eugene speak. Are you
Before we
sure?
started the session. It was mentioned before the session started, so
Are you?
I,
Jeremy
I,
told me that before I came here, just when I woke up in my room. I
Well,
swear it.
Eugene, you did kind of start the conversation, so it's quite possible that Juan and Evan have both taken hold of your idea. Is that a possibility?
I don't think so, but
No,
I
I said
don't
it
know.
first. I said that Al was not acting very noisy the way he usually talks. That was
Well,
Is
before you
right.
came in.
is it quite possible then, Robert, that Albert is getting better? Isn't that why we're all here?
And at this point, Juan says, Dr. Smith is that is Albert his real name, and he's just been pretending to be Al Capone all this time?
Well, he is Albert Capone. That is the name that his parents gave him at birth.
But is he? And I don't know if this would be too much of a stretch for a 18-year-old farm kid, but he would say something like, "Well, is he someone else now? That like maybe Al Capone got dragged out last night, but then now today this is Albert, and so he's two different people. So that it could have happened because I know what I heard and I mean he almost slips and say what I saw, but he stops. I don't know if the doctor would catch that, but he goes, I know what I heard, and it was his voice being in the hallway being dragged.
I
Well,
saw Bruce and Liam were taking him.
Bruce and Liam were taking him. Do you trust Bruce and Liam, Evan?
I don't trust anybody here.
Robert, you were shaking your head. Do you trust Bruce and Liam?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think they're
Wait.
very smart, but they're cool.
Okay. Well, wait right here. And Dr. Smith goes out the door for a minute, speaks to one of the nurses that's there, and about 5 or 6 minutes later, then Bruce and Liam kind of come in. Um, Bruce, Liam, Evan has said that you were dragging Al- Albert here down the hallway last night. Albert denies such a thing. Were you there last night dragging Albert down the hallway? And they both respond, no. We were at the nurse's station all evening. It was a rather quiet night, despite the fact that there were the fireworks, which we know often agitate many of the residents here, the patients here, and that can cause them to have problems. But everything else seemed to be rather quiet. Surprisingly, it was kind of surprised us that we didn't have to deal with anything last night. Okay, well, thank
Jeremy
you,
says that you are lying.
Eugene. We don't.
Jeremy, it's Jeremy. Just told me.
Okay, well,
Sorry,
Eugene,
sorry.
remember, we do not say that any members of the staff are lying.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. Sorry.
Thank you, Bruce and Liam. That is enough.
But what if they are, sir? What if they are lying?
Juan, why would Bruce and Liam lie?
Sir, I don't know, but I didn't want to say I got out of my bed and looked, but I saw Bruce and Liam too, dragging Albert, screaming down the hallway.
They would have to have a reason to lie, and to lie to one of the medical staff like myself would be the result of their termination. They have no reason to lie.
But sir, I saw the same thing that Evan saw and Eugene's friend saw.
Well, Juan, is it the fireworks last night were quite loud? Could you be having problems with that, and that
No,
you
sir.
imagine this?
The only problems I have is I wasn't outside able to watch them, sir.
I don't know what to tell you here, Juan. I mean, I have no reason to doubt Bruce and Liam because they know that they would be fired if they ever lied to me.
Unless
Yes, sir.
you're in on it.
Is this the session? Are we
The
just
session-
going to talk about Bruce and Liam? And yeah,
That
are we
is-
supposed to be
We are
talking
supposed
about
to be
our
talking about
feelings
each
or
other.
something?
That is part of it. But you guys brought up some serious accusations, and we just need to make sure that we cover those bases and to understand that sometimes we see things that aren't real, and that we can sometimes be susceptible to suggestions of other people. Isn't that right, Eugene?
Well, yeah, it's a possibility. I understand.
Thank you,
but
Eugene. That is enough. Thank you. Very well. Do we need to continue on this vein, or are we satisfied as it is? As he kind of
That
looks
is
around.
fine. Please, let's move on.
Thank you, Robert. You have a very clear mind today. Thank you. All right. And that seems to kind of put a kibosh on the continuation of this particular line of questioning. You do spend the next 45 minutes, because you spent about 15, 20 minutes talking about the issue with Albert, but you do spend the rest of the hour session kind of talking about various issues and whatnot. And as these things sometimes are, you get a few moments of clarity on some issues, but other things not so much so. And at the end of it, Dr. Smith says, "Thank you all. You are now free to go to the common room where you can engage in some art therapy if you so wish, which does include Robert and Evan. You can both do. You'll have access to slide rules if you so wish."
Excellent.
Thank you, Doctor.
Question for the GM. What's the facility like? Are we restricted to inside? Is there gardens that we're allowed to walk around?
You are given some outside time, but it is supervised. So there is usually someone there to kind of take you. So you will have at some point during the day the ability to kind of go outside. Though at this time of year, in July in East Texas,
hot.
it's very hot. It's very humid. So it's not something people are like, yay, that's something I want to do. Not that inside is much better, but there are electric fans inside.
Yeah. Which just makes it miserable.
Blowing around hot air.
But I'm trying to come up with a solution to that, something that will make it cooler. an
Okay.
air amplifier of some sort. Not an
Okay.
amplifier.
But yeah, you guys are all taken then to the common room where you're given. This is basically your free,
Free
unstructured
time.
time that you have for about the next 2 hours or so. Is there anything you guys want to do?
I want to go up to Evan and talk to him about what we both know we saw and heard. And I'll go up and I'll say, "Hey Evan, I heard and saw the exact same thing. It was Al. It was Al Capone. He was yelling and screaming and hollering, and those two guys were just dragging him. I saw the exact same thing you did. I don't know what Dr. Smith was up to with that. That was weird. At
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can be suggestion or anything. I remembered exactly. Three people were there, two orderlies. I have all prime numbers, you know. I remember these things.
And has Dr. Smith at this point done anything that make us not trust him really, or has it always been pretty above board and even keel?
As far
Is
as you
this
know, it's been above board.
okay? And I don't know why Dr. Smith would. I just keep kind of going on. I don't know why Dr. Smith would do that. Like, and obviously you see he's different. Albert Al, he's different today. His
Yeah,
personality is completely changed. You know, it's I don't know, man. It's weird. And I had a really bad dream after that. You know, you're probably lucky you didn't go back to sleep because man, my dream was there was the devil at my door. It seemed like, and I don't know. I wish my abuelita, my Mexican grandmother, was here. Because I don't know what to do. I don't want to have that dream again.
well, devils and stuff aren't real, but dreams can still mess you up. Question for the GM also. When we saw him being dragged away, was he going in a direction we don't normally go? Can we kind of guess where they were taking him, or
Um,
I want to follow if I can where they
I
were
mean, it
taking
is
him,
it is
but
a, it is a corridor you've been down before, so it's not like it's necessarily somewhere else. But basically, you guys are the ward that you're on is you've got a hallway in the middle. Well, at least where your rooms are at, you have a hallway in the middle, and then you have your rooms on each side of it, and then at both ends of the corridor are stairwells to other both up and down. So where they went once they got to the end of the corridor, who knows?
yeah, okay.
Was it going towards the Shocky room?
No, it wasn't. It was in the opposite
I
direction
didn't
from
see
you.
it. But okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
for those, yeah.
okay. You guys got to remember something.
The
He's the
plan.
doctor, and we're the crazy ones. So sometimes we do see and hear things that we aren't really there. And I sort of go like this towards Eugene.
I go, but Robert, I know what I saw, and me and Evan, we saw the exact same thing.
But who do you trust more, yourself or the doctor?
I I trust
Myself.
I trust myself. I don't know why I'm here.
Then you might have to have more work done because doctor knows best. And we're here because we're fucking crazy.
And why would the doctor move you out of your chair? There were chairs you could take. He knows best. What was that all about? He's
Because
not.
he knows what my problem is and why I have to fight against the fact that everything has to be completely symmetrical or I can't. He was trying to help me. I hate him. I hate his fucking guts because he did it, but he's trying to help me. I'm not supposed to love him. I'm supposed to hate him, but it's good for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I kind of guess I see where you're coming from.
I know what I saw though, Robert.
I,
No, I know what I saw.
I'm sure you did, but and Al is acting different today.
Exactly.
Uh, but maybe that's because they did something to fix his problem.
But why would they lie about it?
And
Maybe
during
they
the
have to
night,
keep it a secret.
why would they, normally therapy and everything is during the day. Why would they do it during the night? We saw him at the party yesterday before lights went out. He was still,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not that kind of a scientist.
by the way, when you were sitting in the new chair, you were perfectly completing the circle. I saw, so.
Oh, thank God. It's nice to have a secondary perspective, especially from a pretend mathematician. Uh,
Eugene has been listening to you, but he is in the corner of the room. He's playing a chess game. Alone? He thinks he's not playing alone, of course.
of course. Who's
If
winning?
if anyone were to watch, they would realize that Jeremy plays much better than Eugene.
And I'm just working my contacts for extra soap that they have stolen out of the showers. I'm trading whatever snacks or something we have.
Daniel.
Okay. Give me a fast
I,
talk then, Daniel.
I totally sympathize with Dan.
No.
All right.
No.
Your context, they talk a good game about having some antibacterial soap, but they only have some regular soap.
Yeah, 1946.
That'll do. That'll do. But if I can, I will get into the closets and start opening stuff. So
Okay. Daniel, while you're at it then, go ahead and give me a sleight of hand. Why not?
I will put an extra 20 in that. So.
Okay.
Oh, a regular success.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let me ask this. Do you want to find bleach in the closet?
Oh, yes. That would be great. Or lie or something like that.
All right. Yeah, let's say then you are able to sneak in. You do see, let's say with lie, because I think that's a little easier to kind of for you to be able to conceal. You do find a small package of lie as you kind of head toward, you find one of the closets that they keep the linens in. And I'm sure you probably sneak an
I'm
extra
taking
set of
extra
linens.
sheet.
But yeah, so you sneak a package of lye and a clean set of linens, and you kind of hide them underneath your uniform there.
Yeah, I'm pretty skinny, so I'll just suck it in a little bit more. So,
Hmm. Okay, all right. Let's move on. As your day is pretty much regimented, so everything kind of goes as it normally does. Um, Daniel, at the end of the night, all of you are taken to your rooms, locked in, of course, with your roommates. Anything you're going to do, Daniel, with your new package of lye and bed sheets?
yeah, I'm going to start cleaning. We've got a sink.
You do have a sink, yeah.
Yeah, fill up the sink, start cleaning the whole place down. Myself
Okay,
first.
all right. So I'm assuming you like put water in the sink and then pour the lye in so that you can be able to
Oh, yes, yes.
give me a power roll, Daniel, if you don't mind.
Okay. Power 60. I got a hard, almost an extreme.
Okay, all right, all right. In that case, then. As you're pouring the powder into the wash basin that you have there, you notice that it's not white like you would expect the lye to be. It's actually a bit kind of a darkish, blackish, brownish color. And as it hits um, the water itself kind of starts to move, kind of very organically.
I'll step back and just repulsed. That's not how it's supposed to be.
And you notice that it seems to whatever this is that's in your sink now begins to crawl out of kind of like these individual little elements, almost like kind of in a style of an ants who are just kind of moving out once their mound has been disturbed, just kind of coming outside of the wash basin.
If it starts to come towards me, I'm gonna pound on the door. Orderlies, help! Get me
Give me
out
a
of here!
give me a sand roll, by the way, because they are headed directly towards you.
I failed that one.
All right, give me a D6 actually.
D6.
Well, it kind of goes
Two.
right against your phobia.
Oh yeah, two.
All right, just two then. All right. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
they're
pounding. Just
okay. Yeah, you're pounding away, pounding away, pounding away. It takes a couple of minutes. You do hear your roommate just kind of like, "Shut up, man! It's time to go to bed. Stop it."
fuck you. Look at the mess. Look, it's filthy. It's coming. It's all over the place.
Actually, as you're saying that, these kind of ant-like creatures are starting to get on your little slippers and start moving up your body.
Oh, I'm kicking those off and just starting to, scratch myself, itch myself, start cleaning off everything that I can, anything
Okay.
that's getting on me, and just
Okay.
screaming.
As you're doing that, kind of right as you're doing that, the kind of the door yanks open, and you do see that Bruce is standing there and kind of looks at you. Daniel, what are you doing? You're
Oh, I'm gonna
supposed to be in
grab.
bed.
Can I get past Bruce?
Um, Give me a strength roll. I rolled a 3.
Oh, I got a 15. So you you're holding me.
Yeah,
I got a
you're not
heart,
able.
but
Yeah, he just kind of grabs hold of you and says, "Daniel, stop it! Stop it! What is going on?"
look behind me. It's disgusting.
You look down, Daniel. There's nothing there.
It just goes limp. It's just one of those just another episode. Um, Put me down. Leave me alone. Don't touch me. I need
Okay.
new sheets.
You don't get new sheets until tomorrow, Daniel. You know the rules. But he does let go of you.
I won't fight him. Though I will peek into the sink once he closes me, locks the door.
Okay. Yeah, as long as he sees that you're back under control of yourself, he will leave you alone, relock the door, and you go over and you do notice that there is lye in your sink with water, just kind of mixed together.
I'm gonna start watching myself then. It
Okay.
was just an episode. It was just another episode.
Okay. Because you are scrubbing yourself with lye, go ahead and take off a point of damage off that one.
Oh yeah, yes.
Because you are injuring yourself. But yeah. Okay. Um, Let us skip ahead a little bit in time. A couple of months have passed. It is now let me check my notes real quick. It is now kind of mid-September. All right, so you've gone from July to mid-September. Things are starting to cool off. The pine needles, because in East Texas, mostly pine trees are out there. The pine needles are starting to fall. Things are getting a little bit cooler, so it's only around 80 degrees now instead of its normal 100 that you were experiencing during the Texas summers. So things are cooling off a little bit, which is kind of a bit of a nice break. On this a particular September day, let's go ahead and just call it, for the sake of a number, the 20th of September. On the 20th of September, you guys are brought, of course, into the recreation room, as you often are. Um, One of the things that you notice, two individuals that you know as Frank and Henry. They are normally people that simply sit in wheelchairs and just kind of stare off into the distance, often drooling on themselves. Frank and Henry are currently playing a game of 42, which is a dominoes style game, popular in Texas, of course, playing together in the common room.
It's an affront to everything that exists in the universe. You can't play dominoes symmetrically. I can't even look at their table.
Well, to be fair, 42 is a trick-taking game, so it's not like straight-up dominoes.
Okay. I wasn't aware. It's not like chicken feet. I love chicken feet. Anyways, considering that my last plan of didn't come to fruition because the math was all wrong, I'm probably sitting quietly in a corner with my back against the wall because the wall's kind of cool. You know how the tile wall's kind of cooler. And I'm just letting my mind go blank and see if I can find some new project to work
on. Okay. Give me an int roll while you're at it, Robert.
Well, I got an 11, so that is an extreme, actually.
That is an extreme. You're up against the tiles. You're counting the tiles. You're noticing
something I've done 1,000 times, yeah.
But you're noticing that the rows and the columns seem to have a ratio that is very similar to Fibonacci's ratio.
I look at it, I check it out from a couple of different angles, and I'm like, remarkable. Where's my notebook? And I'll start sketching out the relationships and drawing in angles and starting to do some of the math. And after 10 minutes, I'm going to walk over to Evan and I'll walk up to him and just, I won't say a word to him, but I'll be like,
yeah, I'll follow.
Sit right there. Do you see it?
I'll think for a minute and I'll probably recognize what he's talking about because I've probably noticed it before. And
actually,
don't
Evan,
I see?
His numbers are off by a factor in one direction by 6 and another direction by 13. He's miscounted the tiles according to your recognition.
A factor or like the total number of?
By a factor of.
So times 6. Okay.
Times 6 and times 13.
That's quite a big discrepancy. Robert, I think you need to count again. I'm not sure if this is right.
It's the ratio. It's Fibonacci's ratio.
Yeah, I know Fibonacci, but count again. We can count together. I don't think you're counting them correctly.
Do you know how many times I've counted these?
And you've only just noticed after all those times?
Well, it never occurred to me, and I'll start counting them again.
You get a different number, matching what Evan just came up with.
Now I'm going to count them again as well, just to double check for myself.
Evan, your numbers are right.
How could I be so off?
It happens to all of us. Like you said before, we're all here for a reason, right?
I'm going to run my fingers over the grout between the tiles for looking for hidden levers that might have flipped the tiles or, some sort of logical explanation for how I could have miscounted them. So I'm now up against the wall, feeling all of the cracks between all of the.
Give me a power roll, Robert.
68. That is a failure.
It's a failure. As you're kind of rubbing your hand against the tiles, you notice something gives and your hand goes through the wall, and you kind of instinctively kind of pull it back. And when you push back up against it, it's solid.
Okay, now I'm going to become completely obsessed with the wall. Oh, sanity roll.
Yeah.
38. That is barely a pass.
Barely a pass, then you don't take anything.
But I'm just all the more convinced that I've discovered something.
Did I see his hand go in?
No, you did not.
No.
You saw him rubbing his hand up against the wall. That's all you saw him. And then just kind of
figures.
And then press up against again.
So now, of course, I have to get out my measuring tape and start measuring the tiles and carefully recording every single tile. Since I have a pencil, I will try to make a little number on each tile. And that's going to be my job for the next, good God, I don't know, 3 months.
Indeed. All right. Anyone else doing anything? Robert and Evan seem to be counting tiles, but what are other folks doing?
I got a question for you. During all this time, have I seen any improvement in other patients, like I saw with Albert?
Well, yeah, I mean, as I just kind of made mention, when you guys came in this morning to the room, you did see that Frank and Henry, who were basically comatose previously, are now engaging in a game of dominoes.
Yeah, but apart from them, I see Robert as always. I see Evan as always.
Yeah, and Daniel and Juan are still the same that they've always been. So you've seen a change at this point. You've seen a change in Albert, and you have seen a change in Frank and in Henry now. At this point, you do know that you guys are basically in your ward. There's about 100 people. There are several other wards. So what goes on in those other wards, you don't know, but you've seen changes in now 3 individuals.
And nothing strange has happened during this time, like what happened that night with Albert.
Not at this point that you've noticed. There have been a couple of people that have died over the course of the couple of months, which is kind of expected in such a place as this. But yeah,
old people or maybe a young one.
Not necessarily old.
But nothing strange. I mean,
this is a mental institution.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. And what about? I want to know something about my roommate. My roommate.
Okay. Your roommate Lewis. What about him? What do you want to know?
Who is he?
Well, Lewis has been here at least for the last, as far as he's been here for about 6 years or so. He doesn't really like to talk too much about himself, but he does seem to be particularly concerned, usually at night. He has a bit of a fear of the dark, is kind of his particular proclivity. And so he usually has a candle that he keeps burning next to his bed.
Okay, thank you.
Juan, when he sees, is it Frank and who else? What's the other guy's name?
Henry.
So when he sees Frank and Henry playing, He kind of goes over and just kind of quietly watches him play this game, the 42.
Mhm.
And are they uh, interacting? Are they talking? I mean, besides playing the game, are they is there banter going back and forth, or are they just playing this game like, oh, I guess mechanically, or how? What is their demeanor while they're playing the game?
Um, there's no chit chat, but they are kind of staring into each other's eyes, and it's not really mechanical, because there are incidental movements going on as well. So, like for instance, one is kind of kind of twirling a domino, kind of flipping it back and forth, kind of like a fidget spinner type of thing, but it's not in like a regular pattern. It's kind of stopping and starting, and they seem to kind of be playing. The other couple of people that they're playing with are interacting with each other and kind of talking back and forth. Every once in a while, they would turn to either Frank or Henry and kind of ask them a question, and they will seem to respond, not necessarily verbally, but they will look over at the individual and kind of give a nod up and down for a yes, or a back of the head, shaking of the head is a no, but not necessarily verbal. So they do seem to be communicating, just not verbally.
I'll ask Frank. Hey, Frank, were you taken out of your room last night?
He kind of turns his head towards you because you're from a kind of different direction than what he's been looking at before, and just kind of shakes his head back and forth.
And then I'll ask Henry the same question.
Same response, kind of
Okay.
the shaking the head back and forth.
And is Albert still in the same area we're in or anything, or is
Yeah,
he
because he's in the same ward as you guys, so Albert's still around.
all right?
Um, Albert's taken up painting, by the way, so he's off in the corner, painting a landscape.
All right. So they're communicative, but they're just nonverbal.
Right.
Frank and Henry, and
hmm
we've never known anything except them being basically in like a fugue state.
Yeah, they've been
Otherwise,
comatose as long as you've been here. Yeah.
okay. All right. I guess I want to, I'm gonna, I've been, I have a very high intelligence so, and being in here has kind of told me, so I've become like a people watcher almost. And so I would have liked to go up to Albert, and just like kind of talk to him about what he's like, what painting, like what landscape he's painting at this point. And
Okay. He's kind of he's at the window, so he's basically kind of painting a forest. You do see kind of in the foreground of the painting there is the kind of the entrance gate to the Rusk State Hospital. So it seems like he is painting what he's able to see out the window.
it's I guess the quality of the painting is like, is he doing a good job, or is it uh
Give me an int roll,
all right,
unless you have art appreciation.
I do not.
Well, you could.
Oh wow. I got an 80 intelligence and I rolled a 95, so that's par for the course.
Well, you can always spend luck, by the way.
You know what? Actually, I will. I actually rolled really good on luck. I'll spend 15 luck to get it to
All right then.
80.
Um, it is the quality of a master. I mean, it is a really, really good painting. Brush strokes, color, everything, composition.
I'll wow, Albert, that's amazing. It looks. I'm looking at a perfect copy of what I'm seeing outside, and I was like, "How long have you been doing this for? This is really great."
Oh, I've been painting since July, so that's about July to September, so 6 months, 5 months.
I'm just like,
No, 3 months.
wow,
Excuse me, 3 months.
wow. This looks like the work of a lifetime master. How old is Albert look?
He's in his 40s.
Okay, I was like, and I said, "Wow, Albert, this is amazing." Like, I'll just keep like complimenting him, and like just see what he says after a
Yeah,
while.
He just kind of says thank you. Juan, why don't you give me a spot hidden though?
All right. 95 again. I don't have that much luck.
All right then. Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll go over to I'll go over to Evan, and if Evan and Eugene are close together, kind of talk to them about, the when I saw Albert paint, and I'll be like, "Hey, did you guys see that?" And yeah, and say, "Hey, what did you guys have you guys seen what Albert's been painting? It's crazy that he's able. He said he's only been doing it since July."
Yes, it is. I wonder something about Albert. Why do you think he's still here? He looks like he's good now. I mean, the improvement has been very big with him, but he's still here with us.
That's a really good question. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I want to go home. If I could get out of here, I'd be out of here today if they let me out.
I suppose that I don't want to go home. I mean, I'm really well here, but I know most people want to go out from here, and I thought Albert would, as he has improved so much, but I don't understand. I asked Jeremy, and Jeremy told me that he will never go out. It does not matter how he improves. He will never leave the asylum.
God, I hope Jeremy ain't right about that. After talking to Eugene, because he just gave me that great idea of like, why isn't he gone? I'll go back over to Albert and be like, Albert, why are you still here? I mean, if I could go home and see my family, that's the first thing I would do. You seems like you're doing so good. Like these paintings, like if you could go out in the world, you could. Well, I mean, there's not that much different landscapes in East Texas, but there's way better ones than just this window. Why are you still here, Albert?
He kind of looks at you, Juan, for a minute. Says, he pauses for a moment and then says, I have to stay close to Mother.
Who your mother's here?
No, of course not. My mother's not here. What are you talking about, Juan? My mother's is down in Houston.
Oh, you said you'd have to stay close to Mother. What you just said that you just said you'd stay close to Mother.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, because I asked you. I remember I just asked you, why don't you go home? Like, why don't you go by your family, like your mother?
No. Obviously, then that's if I said something like that, that's probably why I need to stay here. Then I guess I occasionally have a spell or two. Well, Juan, it's been nice talking to you, but I would like to finish up this painting before lunch today, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, like I said, I was just thinking you're doing great. This is amazing work. I was just wondering why you wouldn't want to go get out of here, because it looks like you're doing so much better.
It. No, yes. Yes, thank you, Juan. We'll talk some other time, okay?
All right, sounds good, Albert. Keep up the good work. I want to see it when it's done too, please. You're doing great.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
I'll go back over to. I'll go back over to. I guess the biggest grouping of whoever's there. Like I expect. I guess Eugene, because I was talking to him, and I'll be like, he seemed confused, and then when I said, "Hey, why don't you go home because you're doing so good?" He said, "I have to stay close to mother." And then when I asked him about if his mother is here, he got confused and didn't know what I was talking about.
I got a question for the GM. We have listened someone talking about a mother before here, or that's
First you've heard
something
of it.
completely new for us.
First you've heard of it.
Okay. And when or where?
This now is the first time you've heard anything about someone saying
Okay.
about mother.
I never listened something like that before.
Yeah, me neither. Like it was weird, like how he seemed like he was just really confused, almost like he had two different things going on in his head. And I don't know. It was just we were talking about his painting, and then I asked him like, why doesn't he get out of here? And I don't know. It's something's weird's going on though, because these people are getting cured overnight. And I was like, Frank and Henry, they were just sitting. You've seen them the last 8-9 months I've been here. They haven't done anything except sit in their chair and stare off into space. And now they're playing a game, and like not just playing it, but doing well with it. I don't know. It's something's weird. Why, if these marked improvements aren't being celebrated and they're just staying here, I want to go home, and I don't even know what I need to do that.
I don't really understand why you are still here. You look like you are not crazy.
I've always had seizures, but I really haven't had too many seizures since I've been here. And I don't know, out of game, I think the reason I haven't had seizures is because my seizures are triggered by light reflecting, and being inside more than being outside, and not having as much exposure has kind of stopped that. So I think that's part of the reason, but I've still had them, just not with the same frequency. But in game, I guess I wouldn't know all that. And I don't know either. I want to go home, but every time I talk to Dr. Smith about it, he puts it off and says that there's still more work to do. I really am starting to not like Dr. Smith. And I look around when I say it.
There's always more work to do. Always. With everyone. I'm fine here, but it's a strange place. I don't really understand what's going on with the people here. Jeremy says that there's something going on that we don't realize.
Yeah, I think Jeremy might be right about that one.
You don't believe Jeremy exists?
Oh, I believe Jeremy. I believe what Jeremy's saying. I might not believe he exists, but he's right about that.
He's right, I know.
And is there how many orderlies are there? Are they watching us? Are they?
Yeah. There's, for the amount of people, there's not enough orderlies for the amount of people, because like I said, there's about 100 people in this ward, and there's only about 6 or 7 orderlies to kind of watch over you all.
Oh wow. Okay. So, I guess I would be trying to be as sneaky as I can. I don't want to draw too much attention from the orderlies when I'm talking to Eugene about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's not a problem. As long their only concern is if they see there is someone getting into a fight or getting acting out in some way, then that's when they interact. Otherwise, they just kind of let you guys during your free time here just kind of do what it is that you want to do. So,
Okay. And I think after that, after I'm done talking to Eugene, I'm gonna go and watch Albert paint and just be away from him, like not like maybe be behind him off to the side watching him, just to see if I notice anything else weird going on with him.
okay. One of the things you do notice, though, Juan, is he's painting, and it's ex exquisite quality. Um, he's starting to change the color palette of the entire painting into a much darker hues. So what had been of kind of a vibrant sunny day is now starting to become a kind of a stormy evening.
Would I maybe be able to think that maybe that's because of what like our discussion from earlier, or is it just
Well,
what he's progressed?
that's up for you to
progressively?
decide what you want to do with it, with that information.
Yeah, I think I'll just kind of like keep it just kind of tucked away, like a little mental note.
Okay. All right. Around this time, everyone's good friend, Dr. Smith, comes in and looks around, kind of talking to everyone, or kind of seeing what everyone is doing. And he comes up to each of you individually, Robert, Evan, Daniel, and Eugene, and Juan, and says, basically, I want you to be a part of a special therapy that I have been working on. It has shown great progress, and I think it will help each and every one of you. We will begin next month for these services. But I want to tell you now so that you can be prepared, because you will have to say, and particularly to Daniel, you'll have to say goodbye to your roommate. You will each have your own individual rooms,
That's
but
finally.
you will have special attention that is given to you.
Fine. One problem at a time, though.
What problem is that, Robert?
I point at that tile. I say, J32. J32. It is supposed to be 76.2 millimeters, and it's 75. It's different than every other fucking tile on this wall.
Robert, can I have your tape measure, please? All right. He grabs your tape measure, um, and he goes over to the tile and measures it. And when he does, it is the same size as all the other ones.
You're not doing it right. Let me show you. Fuck.
As you put your tape measure up to it, it shows the exact same measurement. However, as soon as he turns his back to you, because you still have the tape measure up there, you notice that the tape measure shifts a little bit and then shifts back. Sand roll, by the way.
Yeah. I did not pass that one.
D6 then, if you don't mind.
Oh my.
Well, it goes to your particular neurosis. All right.
If I hadn't passed, I was going to grab a chair and try to smash that fucking tile. All right, I'll take 4. So I'm very agitated. 4 is a lot.
Okay.
So I'll probably, since I don't get any direct insanity, I'm just going to throw my stuff on the floor and to go over and sit in a chair, and then realize that it's no longer symmetrical, and I'm going to have to go back and pick everything up and probably arrange it on the floor symmetrically. I don't know. I'm not having a good day.
Okay. Um, While this is happening, so Dr. Smith kind of goes to each of you and lets you know that you will be having this special new therapy, and then he leaves. Um, Kind of shortly after Dr. Smith leaves, Frank gets up from the dominoes table. He goes over to the record player, uh, pulls out one of the records that's available there for people to listen to, and puts it on. Um, and it just happens to be Deutschland über alles
Oh,
starts to play.
I definitely freak out.
What's that doing on?
I'll probably run to the record table and just try and turn it off if Frank lets me. And if he doesn't let me, I'll try and force him to turn it off.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he's just kind of standing there, kind of in your way. I assume you kind of move him out of the way if possible, which he doesn't give up much restraint to it. What
Yeah.
do you want to do with the record?
Uh, Look at it for a few seconds. Why do they have this in this ward? And then I'll probably break it.
Okay.
Consequences be damned. I'm in my
All right. Yeah. You kind
one
of
track
you hear
mind.
that scraping of a record go, and you kind of pull it up and smash it down. One of the orderlies then comes over. This one is Liam. Kind of comes over to you. Then Evan says, "Evan, what are you doing? Why did you break? It's a small world after all."
No,
Oh,
no,
well, there's a good reason for that one to be smashed too.
Yes.
The first one that popped into my head.
Yeah.
they were playing the German song Deutschland über alles. You cannot
Um,
just play that. That's we fought those guys. We
Evan, and he picks up the remnants of the record, and there's still kind of part of the label hanging over. It says, "Evan, read this," and as you read it, it says, "It's a small world after all."
No, but I definitely heard it. Like
Yeah.
it's a song from my nightmares. It's
Did other people hear the same?
This is just Evan who heard
Just
this.
Evan.
This,
Okay.
this is just Evan who heard this.
no, but this can't be true. I heard Deutschland über alles. I know.
As he kind of looks around, Liam asks several other people, and no one says, "I don't." No one knows what you're talking about, Evan. This is definitely not Deutschland über alles. You destroyed a
Yeah.
Disney record.
Oh, oh, I'm sorry. Do I freak out? Do I need to do SAN or
You
anything?
should do a
Or
sand roll, yeah.
yeah, 08.
All
So
right. Then you're all good at the moment, at least. You're all good at the moment, at least. Okay.
I'll still check out the records a few times, read it 4 or 5 more times to be sure. But yeah,
It doesn't change. It still says the
yeah, I
same
know.
thing.
But
While this is going on, I'd like to go over to like where they keep the painting supplies and take one of the brushes and just kind of put it in my pocket.
Okay, sure. Not a problem at all. Right. Kind of day goes on. Again, people are off to their rooms at night. Eugene, do me a favor and give me a POW roll while you're at it.
Okay. I fail.
Fail. At night, around midnight or so, you're not certain of the time, but it's going to be around midnight. You don't hear any voices. There is no voice. For the first time in your life, Jeremy has stopped talking to you.
I feel really, really scared. I start looking for him. I need him.
You reach back.
Yeah,
It's smooth. There's nothing there.
I can't believe it. I start crying and screaming for Jeremy. I feel uh, a void inside me. I feel alone. For the first time in my whole life, I feel completely alone. And I don't like it.
Give me a sand roll.
Okay. I pass.
You pass. Okay, so you don't lose any points. But you start to hear a different voice. It's not Jeremy's voice. It's a different voice. It's a female voice, kind of an older female voice that just says, "You don't need him anymore."
I look around, looking for where that voice come from.
You look over, you just see Lewis is in his bed, kind of snoring away. Candle is on his nightstand there. But there doesn't seem to be anyone else in the room.
Who are you?
I'm your mother.
My mother? No, it can't be possible. You
Why
hate
not?
me. Because you hate me,
No,
you would never come to see me. I
I'm
know.
not. I'm not that mother. I'm your new mother, Eugene.
That's not possible. One just have one mother, not two
No,
mother. For
but
the
I will
first
make
time
you.
probably in my life, I feel like I'm going crazy, but real crazy.
I'll give you what your real mother never could.
Uh, and what about Jeremy? Jeremy's my brother, so you are his mother too.
You will have so many brothers, Eugene. You'll never be alone.
I don't want to be alone, but I like Jeremy, and it has disappeared. You know where he is now?
Do you want Jeremy, Eugene?
Yes.
What if you could have us all?
Uh, I don't know. I I'm I'm I don't know what you are talking about. I'm good here. I don't need anything else.
Don't worry. You'll be with us soon. And with that, her voice kind of disappears, and Jeremy, you hear Jeremy's screams in your head now at this point. That goes on for a good 5 or 6 minutes, and then just kind of stops.
Jeremy?
He talks to you, but he will not talk about where he's just been.
Okay. I will ask him, of course, but I don't receive an
He just
answer.
will not. He'll say, I can't. He'll just basically say, I can't talk about it.
But is everything all right?
I can't talk about it, please. And for the first time in your life, Jeremy sounds afraid.
Oof. I don't like it. I feel really bad about this. Jeremy, you just promise me that you will never leave me alone. I I need you, Jeremy.
I've been with you all your life, my brother.
Yes, don't leave me.
I will do what I can to keep us together.
But you seems to be scared.
I cannot talk about that, Eugene.
But you promise me that you will not go?
It is time for us to sleep, Eugene. You must get your strength. You've always needed more strength. You must sleep.
Okay,
We
I
will
will.
talk
If
later.
you want, if you want me to sleep, I will sleep, Jeremy. I don't want you to be upset with me, and I would sleep, I suppose.
Okay. All right. We shall skip ahead a little bit more in time. It is now early December of 1946. There have been a couple of more people that have been healed. You've also noticed that Frank and Henry are now verbal as well. So they have been talking to people for the last 3 weeks or so. A couple of other people are beginning to seem to be losing whatever maladies that they were afflicted with, seem to begin the process of kind of disappearing. There have been, to kind of answer a little bit of a question that was earlier, there are a few more deaths over the last couple of months than previously. But again, nothing completely unexpected given the circumstances, but there just have been a few more. But here we are. It is now the 8th of December of 1946, and Dr. Smith has informed you all that now is the time for you to go to the new ward and for your new opportunities for your therapy. And you do see then the two orderlies of Bruce and Liam are the ones to escort you and take you down the corridor. For those that were awake at the time, Evan, Juan, and Eugene, or I should say Jeremy, notice that you are going down in the same direction that they had taken Albert all those months ago.
Are they, how are they escorting us? Like taking us by the arm, physically escorting us, or just,
Are you fighting them?
probably not. I'll ask them still if this is voluntary or where I'm going, but I'll probably comply.
Their only response when you say, "Is this voluntary?" is this will make you well.
Can I get out of here when I'm well?
If you are well, and when you wish to leave, you may do so.
Then I'll go with them.
Okay.
Over the last, like, I don't know, when at some point, when I took that paintbrush, I have in my wallet room and I've sharpened it into a makeshift, I guess, shiv.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to make sure that like I pretty much kind of always have it on my person.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a luck roll, because there will be occasional searches of your rooms to look for just such a thing.
I got an 89.
At some point, they do find it and confiscate it.
Jeez. Oh my gosh.
Because I mean, that is one thing that they would be worried about, having weapons.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes these dice hate me.
Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah, you no longer have your makeshift weapon. But yeah, one of the things you guys notice is that they're taking us the stairwells down and down and down and down to an area of the the state hospital that you have never seen before. In fact, the lights down here are more like in the 1920s versions where you're just running wires with hanging light bulbs. type of things as you're kind of moving along. But Liam and Bruce are just taking you each down there to a new area of the hospital. Anything you want to do or say on the walk down?
Well, I'm super excited. Daniel's super excited about getting his own room, but once you get into the lower levels, it's like, is this place clean? Is this
Daniel, you see water dripping from the ceiling. You do see that there is kind of green algae kind of growing along some of the walls down here.
Oh, now I'm getting agitated. This is not, I mean, we were promised our own rooms, but I don't know. I don't know if I want this. As I start to
Don't
pull back.
don't worry, Daniel. It'll all be better once you're in your room.
Uh, if I'm gonna look in my room, if it's filthy, I'm gonna try to get away.
Okay. We're not quite there yet, but yeah. So when you guys arrive, you see this kind of large chamber that it looks like basically kind of the old style surgical theater, kind of in the round type of thing. You have your tiles, of course, all along the walls. There's kind of there's the kind of the gallery up top, and you have kind of the area down below, which would be kind of where the surgery type of things would happen. Off to each side, though, there are kind of doors that are there, where what used to be like where the surgery might have taken place. There does seem to be the tile is there, but it's kind of a little bit different. It actually is set up, whereas all the other tile is more in kind of rows and columns, kind of a type of thing. But right in the center, it's more circular. So there is a little bit of a difference there. But you go to your rooms, you're kind of brought to your rooms, and the inside of the rooms are also tiled. They're not very big. They are only about maybe 10 feet by 10 feet in size. In there is a bed. There is also a washstand in there. In Daniel, when you get to your room, you do notice as you kind of enter in, you have that smell of bleach seems to be all over the surfaces of your room.
Very nice. This is all right.
Okay. You are put into your rooms. The door closes. It's not the normal time for you to go to bed. It's only kind of midday, but you are being put into your, for lack of a better term, your cells.
I got a
Make sure I write-
question.
Yes, Eugene.
Okay. During this time, since I had that experience with Mother, could I talk about that with Juan because of the conversation we had about Albert?
If you want to have that conversation, we can do that conversation.
Okay, yes, I would. I would tell him about what happened to me that night because I remember what he told me about Albert and the mother.
And I would suggest that we would maybe talk to the people that have been cured and to see what, like, maybe even pretend like that we heard Mother to see what they say, like, hey, like, Mother, what do you think of the Mother talking to you, type thing, going to another patient. I don't know, I can't do that now, but
there was a little bit of time, and so you could have had a few conversations. They don't. They just kind of look at you into who's this mother you're speaking of?
I was like the mother that talks to us in our dreams and in our head. You haven't heard her, and I'm just spitballing here, making stuff up, but I'm trying to get them to react or see if there's any kind of reaction that even that Albert had when I was talking to him, and he kind of, like, I guess almost like, switched and then kind of switched and then switched back, anything like that.
All right. Juan, why don't you give me a spot hidden roll, but I'm going to ask for an extreme for reasons.
Oh my gosh, double ought 5.
All right, then. One of the things you notice, you hear the words coming out of their mouths as being, they don't know what you're talking about. Who is this mother? The movement of not their mouth necessarily, but their tongue does not match what is coming out of their mouth in terms of the vocal pronunciation.
Okay, so it's like a poorly dubbed movie then, is basically what I'm seeing.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. All right. And I'll definitely report this back to Eugene. I don't know if anybody else would be around us like talking, but I definitely would be like, Eugene, I talked to several people, and it's almost like they were like there was a space between what they were wanting to say and what they were actually saying, and it's hard to describe. Like their mouth wasn't matching their words. Like what I was hearing and what they were actually saying were two different things. I don't know. Something's up. I have a bad feeling about this new therapy too. I don't know.
I can't understand, but I will tell you something more. While that happened to me, Jeremy disappeared for a little time. And when he returned, he was scared. But he is never scared, and he don't want to talk me about what happened to him and about where he was during the experience. And I don't like it, Juan. I don't like it because he's always with me. I need Jeremy with me, because if he is not with me, I'm alone.
Has Jeremy ever left you before?
No,
Oh,
never. He's always with me. Since I was a child, he's my brother. He's in my back.
yeah, something's not right. Something's not right, especially if Jeremy left you and he's never left you before. Something's going on. I don't know what to do though, because they have all the power over us.
All right.
I don't
And
know
with
what
that,
to do.
with that, we will go back to our present on the 8th of December as the doors of you guys' new rooms have just been closed upon you. That is where we'll end it for tonight.
All right.
Creepy. Our players included Kiko Vincenz Picado, Thomas Grooms, Kuhn Leighton, Michael Ramirez, and myself, with Thomas Bailey as the Keeper of Arcane Lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.